Courage comes from the French word that means heart. Courage comes from the heart. Courage is the ability to confront something that makes you uncomfortable. It pushes you, and it means something to you. It's being afraid, but doing it anyway. But more than eating a worm because you were dared to. One place or action that can take courage is your creativity. Even though it might seem like a small action, it's actually quite big. A lot of us have beliefs around our creativity, whether we have it or not, or whether we're talented enough or we weren't born with it, that takes courage to show up and show those beliefs that that's not true. Welcome to Building Wings episode number 8. My name is Jennifer Russell, and today we're going to be talking about courage and creativity. Courage can feel uncomfortable. Courage is uncomfortable. It should feel uncomfortable, or else it's not courage. It's something that feels uncomfortable at the time, but afterwards, after you're finished, or you have come face to face with whatever it was that was making you afraid, you feel good about it. We can't have growth without discomfort. You don't have comfort and growth together. So in order to grow, we have to face something. We have to grow past something. We have to break through the earth and start to thrive. And to do that, we have to take risks. And creativity can feel like a risk. Showing up to your creativity takes courage because it's accepting that you could make a mistake. You might not like what comes out of you, and you have to admit that you might fail. But we always grow. That's how we learn, is through making mistakes and those failures. If all we did was get it right or make beautiful works, then we would never learn from that. Courage often involves something that feels like a risk, an act of bravery, following your heart, your muse, listening to what she has to say. Sometimes it feels scary, or like that you think that it might not work, but sometimes those are the best learning experiences. Those are the pieces that turn out the best, or that's how you start to develop your own voice or style in your work. Sure, we learn through mimicking and copying the things that we see. We start to learn what we like, but that's also a way to start experimenting. Once you've got the hang of it, you can start experimenting with that and making your own mistakes and building your voice. An artist and motivational speaker that I really enjoy, his name is Eric Wall. He has a book called The Spark and Grind. A quote that I felt was really appropriate for today is, "It takes courage to attach yourself to your work, especially if you've lost yourself along the way, but it's worth it." It can be really scary to put your entire self into your work. The nice thing about creativity is, or a safe way to think about creativity is, you can put yourself into your work and you show up on the page in ways that you didn't know were possible, and you don't have to share it with anybody else. The bravery comes when you start to open up and share that with people. And it feels like you're putting yourself out there naked for the world to see. And that's where the courage comes from. The blank canvas and page are scary. They are a reflection of ourselves. We don't know what's going to come out from that. It's an unknown, and that can be frightening. Sometimes we don't know how much of ourselves to show. We don't know what's going to come out on the canvas, or we get so caught up in what something's going to look like that we lose the meaning of everything of the process. The canvas or blank page is a really vulnerable place to be. Something that's very human is wanting to belong, and our fear of making something that somebody won't like or it not be good enough is often crippling and stops us from creating. But remember, you don't have to show it to anybody. You can just start and build your confidence and put yourself on the page and just let it out and let it be what it wants to be, and learn more about who you are. Sometimes we get caught up in the should-bes, but at the canvas we need to leave that behind us and just be. No shoulds. We forget that creating is a process, a journey from beginner to wherever it takes you. I don't know if we can ever be a master. There's always something more to learn. I don't believe it has anything to do with age or education or talent. It can be learned with practice. How many times do we fall when we're learning to ride a bike? I personally can't jump off a trampoline into a foam pit. It feels like there's a wall there. Every time I try, I freeze and I stay back on the trampoline. And it's a mental thing, but it feels very physical. We can all create. We just have to have the courage to jump, to make a mark, and to keep going. I have one more thing I want to read to you before we get on with our tutorial. And it comes from another one of my favorite books by Elizabeth Gilbert called Big Magic. And this is from chapter 1. Something wonderful is sheltered inside you. I say this with all confidence because I happen to believe we are all walking repositories of buried treasure. I believe this is one of the oldest and most generous tricks the universe plays on us human beings, both for its own amusement and for ours. The universe buries strange jewels deep within us all, and then stands back to see if we can find them. The hunt to uncover those jewels, that's creative living. The courage to go on that hunt in the first place, that's what separates a mundane existence from a more enchanted one. I encourage you to find your buried treasures, to follow your curiosities and what makes you feel alive. Unfold your beauty and your creativity in your own way. And until next time, be inspired.